recording. It's recording at 7:20, but you know what? I don't care right now. It's fine. We're going to record today at 7:20. It's not the end of the world. All right, so we're recording, we're streaming. Seems like people are here. Does aspiring to be an analog engineer seem pointless these days? If you were trying to be 100% analog, then yeah, that's pretty pointless. I don't know any studios that actually are 100% analog. Every studio uses Pro Tools, at least somewhat, for stuff. Every studio that I know about. You have a major lag. Go ahead and try to re-log in or something like that. I'm streaming pretty well on my end. There's no real reason it should be a crazy lag, but I don't know. All right. So let's see here. So today we're going to talk more about analog synthesizers. And talking about analog synthesizers, I'm going to actually show you a couple of different pieces of gear. Let's see, am I plugged in? I'm plugged in there. Let's go ahead and open up Ableton Live. I feel like my cable, oh no, it's working, okay. Okay, your stream was frozen. Okay, cool, Christiana. And then Agent Orange, did I have you already? I do, John LaFurl, okay, cool. Sweet. Oh, yeah, Joanna, I understand that for sure. Fortunately, I'm lucky because I actually have FiOS where I am right now, and that is very, very helpful for making sure that my stream goes out correctly. Yeah. All right. So what we're talking about today is more synthesizers. Let's just do a quick review about what we went over the other day, just going over the basics of synthesis stuff. I just want to make sure that everybody's good with that. All right, I'm going to back up here. Okay, your comments don't make sense. Yeah, because there's such a lag. I mean, I get it. I get it. Even if you are responding late, don't worry. I'll still get it. I'll understand. All right, so got this. I'm going to go ahead and leave this side window open with the names on it so people can see if their name is on here. Cardona. Give me a first name, dude. Please. I don't remember anybody's name. And especially since I can't see you people, it makes it even harder for me to remember names. I'm horrible at remembering like vocabulary words and stuff like that. So, all right. And it just helps me input the stuff in. So if you want to be helpful to me, which is lovely, give me your full names. All right. So introduction to synthesis, real quick. So remember, when we are when we're thinking about what kind of sound we want to make, and we're thinking about like, okay, I'm going to make a sound. Remember, there's two aspects of sound that we have to keep in mind, and one of them is your envelope, and one of them is the timbre. So it's good to have both of those in your head. That's a you problem, dude. I think everybody else can hear me. So you have the envelope and you have the timbre. With the envelope and the timbre is the shape of the sound, and the timbre is the brightness or the darkness of the sound. It's defined by the harmonics that are in the sound. And that's just up here on my screen here. Let me get my screen. Oh, wait, hold on. Somebody needs to tell me my desktop is not. There we go. Now you can see better. Cool. Cool. All right. Okay. So, where was I? Okay, yeah. So the envelope and the timbre. Now, those are the things you need to keep in mind when you are making a sound, when you're coming in to make a sound. And if we go over here to how we actually make those sounds. Remember, with the building blocks of synthesis, and for those of you who are joining me, this is something we went over on Friday in my class. And if you want to review that, just go watch the video from Friday. It's up on the YouTube channel, so you can see all the videos from Friday. But the synth building blocks here, we got the oscillator that creates the sound, the filter, and the amplifier. And those are your three parts that actually touch the sound. So you've got the oscillator, you've got the filter, and you've got the amplifier. Remember, the oscillator makes the sound, and then that goes into the filter here, and then goes into the amplifier. So that is what is going on, Deveron. Cool. All right. Hold on a second. And Cardona, can you hear me now? All right. So yeah, it goes from the oscillator into the filter into the amplifier. And then remember, there are these two things down here that are modulation sources, and they just control aspects of the sound, but they don't actually touch the sound themselves. That's the LFO and the envelope. So let me go ahead and open up. I've got Ableton Live here, and let me go ahead and throw a synthesizer on here. And let me see, the synth that I'm going to use is, let's use, all right, okay, Andrew, cool, thank you, Deveron. I'm going to use for this, let's use one that we haven't used yet. Let's use this Prophet V3. Here's what the Prophet looks like. And okay, I can hear this, but you cannot hear this. It's going to my external headphones. We want it to go into Soundflower. Now it's going there. Hold on 1 second, I didn't have a chance to troubleshoot this. That's going to there. Okay, let's go to the external headphones. Default. Let's open up this. Streamers chat, viewer chat. Cool. Okay. Can everybody hear that? I'm thinking you should be able to hear that. But just to make sure, I just want everybody to, or at least some of y'all to tell me that you can hear that. Yep, good. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you. Perfect. Yashi. Yeah. Les. Awesome. Okay, great. Cool. And this is good there. Okay, cool. I'm going to move that over too, so you can just see that names list there for a minute. All right, so that's our synth. And we're just going to go over a couple of the basic things real quick, just to make sure that we're all good with that. So you can see the synth on the screen. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Let's make it 90%. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do in here is, let's see, let's go to a template and go to a default. Super boring sound. Now, what we've got here is we have two oscillators. We have oscillator A and oscillator B, and we've got the mixer here. And then this one has a noise generator as well. But right now we're only hearing oscillator A, and if I can switch between these two shapes, and I can have them both playing at the same time. And when you have the square wave synth here, you can also have a pulse width modulation. Now what this does, we didn't really talk about this before, but what this does is it actually changes the width of the square wave. So let's listen to that real quick. All right, so I actually used to have an OB6 from Dave Smith Instruments. That's like an Oberheim, a modern Oberheim. And that one had a pulse width knob on it as well for the square wave like this one does. And it also did the same thing. When you moved it all the way to the right, it actually stopped playing because the waveform just kind of disappeared. So there's that. And this is going to go into our mixer, and then from the mixer, if the mixer, what it's going to do is it's going to bring in oscillator A and B here together. So if I turn up my oscillator B, like this, and I can change that. Cool, so I've got that there. And I can mess with the filter here. And the filter just has these knobs here. And it's just a low pass filter. We've got a resonance. It's got an envelope amount knob here, and that's gonna change how much these knobs down here are going to affect where this cutoff is. So if I turn this down and I turn this up, you can hear it changes like the sound, the harmonic frequencies. Puts a little spike on the beginning. Like that. And then if I want to change my amplifier, the overall shape of the envelope, the shape of the sound, like I can make it so when I hit it, right now you can see it, you can hear it just stops. But if I wanted to, I can make it so there's a release on there. There's that. Cool. So, a question in here. Magnolia says, what do you like to be called, Noli or Magnolia? It says, what does a resonance do exactly? I always thought it'd be more reverby. So it's like resounding. Yeah, it makes sense, but that's not what it does. Sort of like the Q on the EQ. If you boost the gain, it has a peak. Okay, cool. Thanks. So basically the resonance, if we look in the notes, it actually talks about that in here. If you look at the notes from Friday's class or lesson number 35, or if you're in John Sickett's class, I don't remember which, it's the Sense basic notes. But basically, if we look in here, the resonance is this page here. So says the frequency cutoff adjusts where the filter will cut the frequencies. And the resonance is basically a gain bump right here where that frequency happens. So it spikes it up. So what's going to happen in terms of sound quality is it's going to give it like a peak. So if I play this note, here, let me go ahead and put this down. If I turn the resonance up, you hear how it's getting a peak right there. And if I move the cutoff, it actually goes through the different frequencies. And that makes it sound like another pitch. And actually, if you turn the resonance up enough, or a lot, or too much, it's going to give it a real defined pitch at that cutoff point. Which is kind of cool, actually, if you want to make some kind of weird, like ghosty sounds. But you got to be careful with it because it can get out of control real fast on some synthesizers. But keep in mind, not all synthesizers have a resonance that's the same. Not all synthesizers like peak as hard as some of these old analog emulations. Yeah. All right. Yep, you're welcome. Okay, so that's basically, that's that. And that's the overview of the synth. Now, we kind of started a little bit backwards just because I wanted to give you a real brief introduction into synthesis. For some reason, I can't understand resonance as being a peak, like there's no increase in volume. There is an increase in volume, but it's at a very specific frequency, so it's not going to turn the volume up overall. It's going to just turn up that specific point in frequency. So just that frequency will get louder. It's a very narrow amount. But when you turn it up a lot, it makes it very peaky. It gets really annoying, actually. My best advice for trying to wrap your head around resonance is to try it yourself with a synth. And it doesn't have to be a hardware synth. It can be a software synth. And I'm going to show you some about that. We're going to get into that today when we're talking about Reaktor after we talk about modular synths. So we're gonna come back to all this stuff. Don't worry, we've got more time on resonance and cutoff and stuff like that. So what I want to do now is I want to talk a bit about modular synths. And in order to help me talk about modular synths, I'm going to have you redirect to a friend of mine, not actually a friend of mine, but it would be nice. I wouldn't mind having this dude as a friend. Junkie XL. Let me. Preferences. Allow pop-ups. Yes. Allow it. Okay. So this is a dude named Junkie XL, and I don't actually remember his real name. I can never remember. I'm horrible with names. But this is a great video for just kind of getting your head around the beginnings of like modular synthesis. We're not going to watch this right now, but I hope you do watch it on your own. It's actually a fantastic video. And answering Agent Orange here, have you ever heard throat singing? It's very similar sounding to the overtone that they produce. Yes, throat singing is amazing. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's from Tibet. And it's used a lot by the monks and people from that area of the world. And what they do is they sing a really deep tone. I can't do it, but then they shape the cavity of their mouth so that it makes a really distinct tone that's like a high pitch on top. It's amazing. Yeah, throat singing is awesome. I highly recommend listening to some throat singing if you can. But yeah, you're exactly right. It sounds like a steep resonance on a synth. And the reason why is because what they're actually doing is shaping the like I said, they're shaping the inside of their mouth, so it actually is creating a kind of peak in their in like the tone. It's really interesting. It sounds really like that. Yeah, it sounds like the filter. Yeah. Oh, you've been practicing. Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, it's a really cool tone. I have a friend who practiced throat singing for a long time and actually got it so he can throat sing, kind of. Let's see here. What was I doing? I was writing your name in here. Anthony Martinez. Cool. All right. There we go. Yeah, and don't forget, if you're in John Sickett's class, don't forget to tell me your name in here if it's not on this list of names here, because yeah, otherwise you'll get marked as absent. All right, so that's the Junkie XL video. I highly recommend watching it. The link is over here in your Canvas page. And actually, at this point, both John's class and my class should be caught up right now, because last week John's class had the O2R, and we were talking about Ableton Live, introduction to Ableton Live, and this week should be mostly synthesizers and stuff for both classes, synthesizers and sampling for the next 2 weeks. The only difference is I did talk about synthesizers on Friday with my class, and so if you're in John's class, you probably didn't have that lesson. So what you can do is you can go to my YouTube page, and my YouTube page is here. I'll put it into the thing. My channel, my channel, my channel, my channel and me. We're the best friends could be. Ooh, my channel, my channel. Okay. Let's see, Audrey. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Audrey. So if you follow that link, it will take you to my Make Beats New York YouTube channel, and that has all the SAE videos on it. And there's a playlist here. You can click on this playlist, and the playlist has all the lessons, and it's going to have all the, stop. It'll have all the future lessons and all the past lessons. All the lessons are on here. So there's that. And if you missed Friday's class, it's down here at the bottom, Synthesis Introduction, Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. So every day is going to have 4 parts, and I'm breaking them up at the break. So it's basically the videos follow the natural flow of the lessons that we're having. And I'll be doing that forever until we're done fighting this virus. So for example, if we go through into the next module and we're still here teaching from home, which it's kind of seeming more and more likely that it will be the case, hopefully not, but it seems like it will be, then you'll be able to go back and see my lessons on the Audient and stuff like that as well, and it's all going to be online. So if you want to see how Tony teaches about the Audient, which is very similar to how Todd taught about the Audient, I think, there they're going to be. Yay. The only difference that you're not getting as opposed to my real class is you're not getting my lovely background music because I'm not playing it for these videos. But usually when I'm in class, I actually have this like really chill out background music playing to keep everybody calm. You know, it's good to be calm and chill. All right, so that's that. Let's see here. What are we doing? Oh, we're back here. Okay, so that's the basics here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close this, and let's talk about modular synthesizers here a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and let's pull in an old one, and then we're going to use Reaktor, and we're going to be talking about Reaktor and stuff. We're going to pull in this one here. This one is from Arturia, and when I say old, I don't mean that the plugin is not old, but this is it's an emulation of an older modular synth. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this screen down like this, and I'm going to go and start off here. I'm going to zoom in so we can see all the different parts easily. Whoops. Wait, no, not oops. Let's see. Template. Okay. Okay, cool. So now with an old modular synth, with modular synthesizers, what you have to do is you actually have to literally connect everything together with cables. And that part can be daunting at first. Have you ever seen a picture, like a video or something of those old telephone switchboards from like the 30s and 40s? Telephone switchboard. You see these old videos of these things, and you'll see these like people working at them, and it looks like that. You've got these cables, and what would happen back in the day is that you would pick up your phone, and there'd be an operator on the other end of the phone, and you'd say, I'd like to dial extension whatever 456, and the operator would say, one moment please, and they would actually literally take these cables and plug them from one place into the next. And that would be how you connect it up together. Like, it wasn't automatically done. You didn't dial a number the same way we dial a number these days. The technology just wasn't there. So that's what was happening with these old switchboards. And these analog synthesizers, these modular synths, are basically the same thing. What you're going to do is you're going to take your audio signal or another signal, and you're connecting from one place to another. So let's go ahead and have a look at what's happening. So this synthesizer here has a bunch of oscillators. You can see here's all my oscillators. There's a ton of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 oscillators. That's a lot of oscillators. Bell Lab stuff. Yeah, Bell Lab stuff, exactly. Okay. So this oscillator has several different outputs on it. You've got a sine wave, you've got a triangle wave, you have the sawtooth wave, and you have the square wave. And eventually, you're just going to be doing this enough so you're going to recognize these symbols and it won't be any problem for you to figure out what's going on. But what we've got here is this one. You can see this sine wave here. The sawtooth wave is going into this soft clipper thing, which is, what is this? This is probably some kind of a mixer type of thing or some kind of volume adjuster. And let's go ahead here. Let me. Yeah, this is like a volume adjuster thing, kind of a mixer, if you will. And what's happening is this one. Okay, here, let me get rid of this stuff. Hold on, how do I get rid of that? Remove connections, boop. I'm gonna remove these connections just so that we're not getting confused by things. So really, okay, so really we've only got 3 cables here, and this is all we need. So, oops. There we go. So the oscillator is going into this kind of mixer thing, and then from the mixer thing, it's going into my low-pass filter here, and the low-pass filter is going out over to this envelope for my amplifier. And this is going out to just my speakers. And there's no other cables. There's a keyboard down here on the bottom, but that's about it. So with this, it's just like we talked about before, just a little bit more confusing to look at because there's just a lot of stuff going on here. But I'm gonna put this up here so we can see everything on the screen. And I hope that's big enough for you to see. It should be, especially if you're looking on a normal computer's screen. But over here, we've got this. It goes into our low-pass filter. So if I mess with this, and if I wanted to adjust my the envelope of the sound, I can go over here to my amplifier envelope here. And right now I've got attack, decay, and release. And if I turn this release up, and I can turn my sustain down, and it's just gonna stop. Even if you look at my hand, right, it's just triggering it. But if I hold it down, now once I turn the sustain up, you can hear me adjusting the level. So if I wanted to make a pluck sound or something like that, I can just turn my sustain all the way down. I put my decay and my release at the same position. Or well, actually. On different synths, it would be at the same position. This one's a little bit different. Cool. So we got that there. Now, we have, the reason why it's called modular is because you have all these modules, and if you wanted more, you could just buy more. And they have that set up here. They have, looks like they've got just a bunch of oscillators here set up for you already. But up here up top, looks like you can actually go ahead and put your own stuff in here. You can choose from different things. I don't really mess with this one too much. So here we can add in more envelopes and stuff like that. This isn't one that I turn to a lot because I don't do a lot of like modular synthesis stuff. Not in here. If I'm doing modular synthesis, it's more with Reaktor. but it's still a good learning tool for how this stuff works. It's just, I've already learned this a long time ago, so I don't really mess around with it as a learning tool, but it's a cool synth. It has a nice sound to it. So in here, we have our LFO. Now, if I wanted to add the LFO into things, and we talked about the LFO before, the low frequency oscillator, there's this one here, over here, and I'm going to say, okay, let's output the sine wave. Sine wave will go to here, here, and this one here, I think was outputting to here. No, this one was outputting to this one. Yeah, there we go. And let's see what this can, modulation. No, I'm forgetting. Forgot how this one works. Let's go back and look at, let me load this one back up real quick. Boop. There we go. Oh yeah, it comes down here to our modulation. Okay. So this here, and this is the thing, is you really, I don't remember how this one you set it up to go out to something. Hold on. There we go. There, boop. Is that going to change this for us? Well, at this point, I don't remember how this changes this up here. I'll take a look. It's been a while since I've used this one. So, oh, whatever. I'm going to show you this in Reaktor in a little bit. So, but if I wanted more oscillators, instead of going for the modulation sources, let's go for the oscillators. If I wanted more oscillators, what I would do is I just come in here to my different oscillators and say, all right, I grab one of these and let's move it down to here and let's see. This is a mixer. And I can join these together. Going through my filter there, turn this one back up. Okay. And so I can adjust the levels here. So if I zoom in on this so you can see what's actually going on here. Now, top tone on there a little bit. Sounds pretty cool. It's a neat little sound. Sweet. So that's basically modular synthesis here. In a very, very brief nutshell. It gets complicated really fast, and it's basically about what modules you have and which modules you're kind of connecting together. As I said, I don't really use this one so much. I mostly use Reaktor, and so that's what we're going to be spending more time in is using Reaktor with the modular synthesizers in here. But when we come back, we're going to hit the notes and just go through the notes and make sure we're good in there. And I think that's actually using quite a bit of Reaktor. But we're going to take a break for 10 minutes. It's now 2:50, almost 2:50. Take a break for a couple minutes and be back at 3 o'clock. Y'all cool with that? Yes. All right, Isaiah Conte, thanks. Sweetness, awesome. All right, so I'll see y'all back here in like 10 minutes. Be back at like 3 o'clock. Cool? Yes. And let's have some break time cats. Break time cats. Break time cats. Cool. See you in a minute.